good?
You're good.
Okay, let's call to order the September 24th meeting of the Oconee County Public Library Board of Trustees. We'll begin with the approval of the minutes. Everyone should have had a chance to look at those. Were there any corrections that anyone had? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as they were submitted?
So moved.
Second?
I will.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's everybody. Now we have a space for public comment. Larry, did anyone sign up for public comment or?
I'm thinking about it, not this time.
One day you'll come.
I didn't get any emails or anything like that, so I didn't get any submitted that way.
Okay. Turn it over to Blair for the Friends report.
All right, two things briefly. You did get this time, thank goodness they've been sending it kind of regular to me, so I've been getting the sales. I hope you really took a look at that because they made nearly $4,800 in July and over $4,800 in August. I mean, here you are in the summertime. It's not holidays. It's not, anything. So, obviously they're doing really well. They still are using this fella out of Tennessee to, pick up all their discards and stuff that even they can't sell, and then he's able to monetize some of it. But also, he's picking it up and taking it to someplace in Tennessee, I think, to recycle. So we haven't had to worry anything about putting stuff in the landfill or doing this. I mean, I think they take it to a big shredder or something, cause then they can even leave the covers on it and stuff. So, he was here today to do a pickup from, the basement. So they're turning stuff around. We're getting donations in all the time. They turn around. Because of, we've taken out the last 3 rows of nonfiction in the Walhalla Library. Because we're gonna put in a small conference room back there. I might have mentioned that last time. But anyway, so we've accomplished getting the nonfiction consolidated and weeded down somewhat. So we have sent probably around 20 boxes of discards, down to the basement. So but they've got all that processed. I mean, I bet, because I know there were some of them there today, I'd be willing to bet if I went down right after I left here and went down to their table would be cleared off. They've just been doing them that fast. So that means they turn them around fast. That means they have them in the grab bags fast. That means they have them on the shelves fast and that kind of thing. So they are doing very well for us. This small conference room that we are gonna put in at the, Walhalla Library, I could wait for the director's report on this one since we're talking about the Friends. Some of you may remember just recently Mariah McCauley, that was a longtime friend, board member, pretty much, everything for the library, passed away, and the family asked that money come to the library in her honor. Well, we've gotten a little over $1,000 that we got directly at the library, and then the Friends have also gotten donations made directly to them. So, we are looking, the cost of this room, at least to get the bare bones of it done, furniture and everything will probably cost us a little more, but somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,200 to $1,500. So what we're gonna do is the Friends, we're gonna take the money that we got in honor of Miss McCauley, and we're gonna name that conference room in her honor, get a plaque with her face on it and everything. Have the family come, whoever's still around. I know their son is here, Alex, and then of course Judge. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to come, but I know he is still here. And have the family there and have a little ceremony and that kind of thing. And we're actually gonna, put a plaque with her name on it for the small conference room. It's about 24 feet by 15 feet. It's a decent sized little room that we were able to make. They're actually gonna start working on it this week, because we've got all the books moved. We just have to figure out what we're gonna do with all the shelving now. But we'll get that moved, and then we'll set up something with the Friends at an appropriate point to put all the press release and all that kind of stuff, and we'll set something up. So they're funding that for us. They're working on different projects for us. We're kind of looking at maybe some additional things for our library of things and some other stuff. Pretty much anytime I know also Carrie Leeper Brock, our social worker, has gone to them for a couple of continuing initiatives. So, I mean, pretty much anytime I need something now that's not part of the normal budget, I can go to the Friends and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, what do you need? Which is a pretty nice situation to be in. That way I'm not even having to like go seek other funds or, you know, I really haven't even had to mess with any of the Nettles money since we did the vehicle wraps. And I'll get to that part in the director's report, but anyway, yeah, so the Friends are just humming right along, they're working real well together. Kinda got a well-oiled machine down there right now, and it's a huge benefit for the library, so we're thrilled, we're absolutely thrilled with the work that they're doing down there.
Great. On to committee reports. I didn't get anything if anyone had a committee report, but just leave it open. Does anyone have anything for their committee they'd like to share?
I will, for community relations. So I've been working with the League of Women Voters, and I just left the lady's name, the adult.
Brittany Castro,
Thank
our
you,
adult
Brittany,
services
yes,
librarian.
adult services librarian, to do voter registration, all 4 libraries. And so I've been to 3. I won't be able to do the Salem one, but it's been good.
Was Westminster today? I think?
That was earlier today, yeah.
Because she had to leave this afternoon, and I kept thinking that one, I didn't look it up, but I figured that one was today, and then, yeah, so I guess Salem is the only one left, is that Thursday?
It is.
Thursday?
Yeah, I don't know with the storm if it'll happen or not, but
Yeah, I don't know, we'll have to see. You know, like I said, we'll know more hopefully about like operations and things if the county says
Yeah.
something, but.
anyway, it was good. There was a few here and there. Most people are registered, so that's just good to hear.
That's great. Anyone else?
I guess I'll share for the Policy and Personnel Committee. We still haven't met to discuss the bylaws, so that's continuing again.
Yep. I think the current idea is that we'll try to get a meeting together like before one of these meetings or something like that. That way it's a day that's already on the calendar. Okay. I'll move on to the chair's report. Nothing really to report. I'm glad that y'all are thinking about the storm. I'm also personally trying to figure that out for our county institution that I work for. So it's good to hear that. Director's report?
Okay, just very briefly, one thing I did want to mention was, of course, the construction of this room that should, again, hopefully start this week. I've talked to facilities maintenance director, and so they're at least going to go ahead and start buying the materials. They may have to get into other stuff, obviously, with the storms and things coming up between them and roads and bridges. They may get busy doing other stuff. So, but we are going to at least get started on it. They're going to buy the materials. We have completed 2 of the 3 vehicle wraps. I tried to pull a picture up out of my email, but unfortunately I couldn't get it to come up. But when we get the 3rd one wrapped at the end of October, we'll put out we'll do something on the website even or something on Facebook. But anyway, so we've been having those vehicles wrapped at Diamond T. That did come out of some of that Nettles money, because it was, I think for all 3 of them, it was right around 8,000, which is really not too bad, because they're gonna have to actually take the old wrap off the bookmobile and put the new one on. But the courier van and the little small van that we use for like getting around and youth services and that kind of stuff for story times and all, both of those are done. Real thrilled with the way they look. I should have just brought one down here and parked it, but anyway, I'll send out pictures tomorrow. I'll send y'all email, because I've got one that has them both parked together. Looks real nice, and they have like a little fleet now. So, yeah, that's great. And so those are getting completed. The bookmobile, because we have to not take it off the road, it is scheduled to be done at the end of October, because then the last 3 or 4 days of October would be a 5th Tuesday, 5th Wednesday, 5th Thursday, so she wouldn't be going out. So we are gonna wait on the vehicle wrap on the bookmobile until the end of next month to get it done. So it will have the new wrap on it for the parades and for all the other stuff that we'll be doing with it, as well. And then, I mentioned in my report about the little conference room. We're getting a TV donated from one of the staff, so we'll have a TV in there that you can probably hook up HDMI into if you need to use a laptop in the room. That'll be nice. And then just the other thing, cause we'll talk about the ramp and a couple other things within the, business. But then, just, the other thing I was gonna mention was that we, we're still on track for a couple of our projects. I'll mention the ramp when we get to that point. And as I said, of course, we're working on the room as well. We are still working on, adding additional library of things. We're also, I might have mentioned before that we are looking to try to get, with our IT department, get the county off, the library off of the county network and kind of onto its own network a little bit, so that we have some different capabilities. We're not worried about anybody uploading something at the library they shouldn't, and then, causing a problem for the county. They are kind of already working on it. We're not to the point of having anything done yet, but the first thing they're gonna do is the Wi-Fi for the library. So it'll kind of get off county's like guest Wi-Fi network and kind of get off on our own. We are looking then for some options for air printing or, printing from phones and that kind of stuff, which always comes up. Right now, we don't have that capability, but once they get us off on our own network and everything, and you can send stuff through, we think that we have one or two options for that. One might be to just send things directly to the printers, because they do have the capability, and then just people can pay on the honor system like they do now with documents that come out of the South Carolina room. Or we may be able to get an add-on to our Envision print management software that we can do it that way. So we are still looking at that as well, and then eventually they're gonna have the servers built to where our wired computers will also be able to get off on their own net. That should give us, some improved capability and finally get back maybe USB usage, that kind of thing. So they are actually starting to do that. I mean, it'll come a little slow. I had kind of set back some of the additional state aid that we got this year in anticipation of maybe needing it for like licenses and stuff. Now they're acting like the way they're gonna do this, I may not need that, so, we may be really in good shape for additional like materials, library things, all that kind of stuff. And, we've added some neat things to the library of things as well. So collections are in, pretty good shape. Of course, we're still adding the regular books. We are also looking at, maybe changing around some of our electronic offerings. That's why we're looking at, when we go down on the agenda, looking at that, getting rid of the electronic borrower, because some of the new stuff that we're gonna have, we don't want people just getting an electronic card to use that stuff. So, we are looking at some changes with that, maybe change some of the electronic stuff that we have, maybe get rid of a couple of things, maybe add something new that's, we think, a lot better. Kinda don't wanna say too much about that now, cause we're not ready to roll it out to the public yet, so I don't wanna reveal what it is, but it's a better platform, particularly for like ebooks and video. We will be keeping Cloud Library, that's no problem, but we're gonna roll out a little bit better platform for some video streaming, ebooks, maybe even some graphic novels and that kind of stuff online, that we would have available through this other platform. So, don't wanna really say too much more about that, cause we're gonna roll it out probably in mid to late November. We're doing training right now, we're getting all of the things, all the parameters set up and that kind of thing. We have to do staff training. We have our in-service coming up on October 14th. So part of our training that day will be on this new platform. And as well as some other things, we're gonna get somebody from the state library to come and do a seminar for us. But we have that coming up, so just, working on projects, trying to stay going. Bill's busy. We were at the Hispanic Heritage Festival this last weekend. I think it was probably the biggest one yet. Bookmobile was out there. We had a couple of tents out there for the library. One we were doing Mexican bingo, loteria, and then one they were doing crafts. They did like a little maraca, and they did a little bracelet with nice charms and things on it. So I think it went really well. It was hot, very hot, but I think we had a really good day. So that looks to be sort of a permanent, I think that's gonna be an annual deal for us, and we'll continue to be part of that as well. But that's my report.
Do you want to mention youth services director?
What now?
The youth
Oh,
services.
yeah, two other things really quickly, sorry about that, as you mentioned, unfortunately, we did lose Casey. She has moved on to Anderson University, actually, she is now their education librarian, which that's a new position for them. They got a new director fairly recently as well, so they've been really building up and doing some different things down at AU. So we are in the process of searching for a youth services librarian again. That position is listed. And so that, you know, we haven't gotten a ton of applications yet, but I mean, it just got up in the last couple days. So her last day was last Wednesday, and we were able to get the listing up this Monday, so, or, yeah, we were gonna put it up last Friday, but she got to me too late in the day. We did get it up on Monday though, so the listing is up, it's available. Haven't gotten too many applications yet, but we are taking applications for that. The salary did go up a little bit with this evergreen thing that I'm gonna talk about next, but, so that, and also, I meant to mention this in my director's report, but I forgot about it. We are now a distribution site for Food Share, that started July 24th. So that comes every other Wednesday, and that is basically box of food, fresh produce, and all that we get from, Feed and Seed in Greenville, actually. But it's a statewide program, it's started by USC School of Medicine, but, so for $20, you can get this box of produce, it's really nice. People that are on EBT or SNAP can get it for $5. And we, along with Blue Ridge Community Center in Seneca and the Rec Center in Westminster, we are all distribution sites on that every other Wednesday for, Food Share. We are also now, at least for the time being, now, I don't know if the garage opens back up, we may not be, I don't know, but I think maybe they'll leave it with us, cause we're a little bit more like wide open. But also now we are a pickup site for the Clemson Area Food Exchange, and that happens every Tuesday. So every Tuesday we have Clemson Area Food Exchange. I mean, that one's a little different because it's paid for, I mean, but it does help out like local farmers, still gets us in this mode of local food, healthy food, that kind of thing. And then, of course, the Food Share, then when it comes every other Wednesday, that is, of course, more low cost and that kind of thing. But we opened up, they lost their distribution site at the garage, the little tavern there on Main Street here in Walhalla. They lost that, it had to close up. It's under new ownership now, they are opening back up. But in the meantime, we are the distribution site for Cafe now every Tuesday. And so, like I said, they're a little bit different because it supports local farmers and that kind of thing, but I mean, you pay as you go kind of thing. It's not so much charity, but it still keeps us in that mode of being able to, you know, help out local farmers, make sure folks have access to healthy food. The nice thing about Cafe too is they have a pretty wide range of stuff, so you can also get, sometimes they have soaps and essential oils and just depending on what farmers have available, but it's a pretty nice setup. My daughter actually volunteers for them, so I know a little bit about Cafe, but anyway. So yeah, those are the other two things I wanted to mention.
So looking at your report, so Casey left, but also Shannon left too.
Shannon left,
So who's handling
she-
youth services then?
Right now, we're basically trying to do youth services branch by branch. They are Kayla Rucker, who's our manager up at Salem. She used to be a youth services assistant for about 3 youth services librarians ago. I mean, Kayla's been with us since about 2008, so she used to do, that was her thing. She was the part-time youth services assistant. She knows the program pretty well for Mother Goose on the Loose. That's a kind of a formula thing we do for the really little kids, like 0 to 2. So Casey was just starting that back up at Seneca again when she left us. So rather than have that fall apart, Kayla is gonna try to do it. If we have people come, you know, she's gonna try to keep that going as long as she can. I mean, obviously she has to manage Salem, but I mean, she has an assistant up there that's really good too. And then, so Seneca will at least have something. The other branches, Westminster, us here in Walhalla, we're not necessarily gonna have any of the story times or whatever. We're gonna have to kinda take a break from those just because we really don't have anybody that can do them. DJ Wharton, who was youth services, now she's pretty much full-time circulation, and we really need that in Walhalla, so I haven't really asked her to do any of it, but the managers are coming together and coming up with one-off individual programs that they can do for kids. We're actually looking at a couple of scavenger hunts here in Walhalla and a couple other things. So I mean, we'll be doing stuff along for kids, and of course, now that we have Brittany Castro doing the adult programming, as I mentioned, you know, she's actually gonna be helping with some of the youth programs just until we can get somebody as well. She had talked to Casey a good bit over the last few days before Casey left about some of the programs and initiatives that she was doing and that kind of thing. Fortunately, also, we did get our story walk done before Casey left, so we do have our story walk there on the Greenway Trail, you know, up on South Broad, as well. So, yeah, we're looking for somebody right now, but we will try to do, you know, as much programming as we can. It'll just mainly be more like passive programs, say, like scavenger hunts, but also just some one-offs. Some kind of fun, maybe movies and some other things that we can do that are not super labor intensive, that the managers and the branch staffs can handle while they're open.
Okay, let's move on to old business. So the first point under old business is the discussion of the wage study by the county.
Okay, just real quick, that is done. The new salaries do take effect as of last week, actually, I guess. So the checks that all of our staff get on October 4th, I mean, I'll do payroll this weekend, and then the checks that they get on October 4th will reflect the new rates. The nice thing about that is, I was also able to put the new rate on the listing for youth services, so it did go up. So that one is now listed at 47,645, I think, starting salary. So, I mean, some of our staff saw a little bit bigger raises depending on how long they had been here and their position, that kind of stuff. Some of them saw slightly smaller, but for the most part, it was definitely a positive. That did include our county part-time, they got a percentage of the raises as well. And because we knew this was coming, I think I had mentioned to y'all before, we did go ahead and get raises for our staff mark folks as well. So now the minimum on that is $11. Wish it was a little higher, but you know, it's still better. We did lose one of our part-time, I don't know whether that had happened before Leah Price did her report or not, but we did lose one of our part-time over in our Westminster branch, unfortunately, Megan Black. She had a full-time job with the school district doing media, I think media assistant or whatever, so, and you really can't blame her for that, that's benefits and, you know, everything else. But I think this kind of gets us up and keeps us with Pickens and Anderson and whatever else, so I mean, I think it's I know the staff appreciated, particularly because it did take longevity into account, that kind of thing, so I mean, like I said, some of ours saw a pretty nice adjustment. But everybody got something, and even the lower levels, I mean, we're not paying our full-time, no, not part-time, but like full-time circulation assistants, so the two that we have at Seneca, the one that we have at Westminster, now DJ being a circulation assistant in Walhalla, none of them are making less than 30. Which doesn't sound like a whole lot right now, especially with the economy the way it is, but that's actually a big deal considering what, even a few years ago, they were starting at like 25, so 30, 31, and, you know, actually pretty decent for the cost of living around here at least. So we were really pretty happy with that coming out, and like I said, it also helps make adjustments, like any of the open positions we have now, we can list them at the new salary, so that's nice, we were able to do that right away with Casey's position, and I think that'll help recruiting as well, so. Glad that it happened. It was a lot of work by our finance departments and human resources departments and that kind of thing, but, I hope it will help retention and recruiting really as well.
Next piece of old business is the ADA ramp in Seneca.
Some news on that, I know, like, out, you know, in the public, you're not seeing a lot, but, they have been working behind the scenes. They did work with Thomas, and Hutton, the engineers, to work up, you know, they had sort of gone with one vendor and got them, kind of to look at the project, and then that vendor kind of fell through, but they now are trying to set it up for bids. So we are in that process. Can't remember exactly when it closes, but they are actually taking bids right now to see if anybody will do that job. And then that also should give us an indication, hopefully depending on what bids come in and that kind of thing, what more money we need to ask from county council. So I think we're supposed to go to county council, depending on how everything comes out, I think we're supposed to go in the 1 November meeting, perhaps. I've got the schedule written down, but I don't have.
You mean with open bids? You mean with opened bids or
Well, yeah,
bids for
once
them
they, well,
to
once they
decide?
open the bids and they know which is, what they're
Best.
gonna go with, then I think the plan is to go in November to county council if
For
there's
approval.
need additional money and get them to pass an ordinance to amend or a new ordinance to give us additional money. So, if all that happens as it's supposed to, and depending on what kind of bids we get and that kind of thing, I mean, if somebody does bid and we get, reasonable bids and that kind of thing, we could be working on it by early next year. So, it's not dead. It's not dead. Like everything else with the county, it's slow and it takes a while, but it's not dead, so it is still gonna happen.
Leonard, what was the cost of the engineering plans? Was it like 55,000, or am I making that number up?
I think it was 12.
I don't remember exactly just for all the engineering and that kind of thing. I wanna say it's in the neighborhood of, well, I don't wanna say because won't have accurate figures.
Can you email that to
Yes.
us? Okay.
What the ordinance that they passed back, in the spring or summer was for around $56,000 to get it done. And that was based on one of Thomas and Hutton's estimates. But then when they had this other vendor look at it, they added some stuff onto it and all, like leveling
the
out
level,
parking
yeah.
spaces and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so right now, Tronda Popham, who's the procurement director for the county, has got a bid system, a bid structure set up, and I believe is taking bids. We do have a meeting down there for anybody that does want to bid, I think October, I don't remember, but Cliff, I'll send it to you, definitely. Well, I'll send it to all of you, but I'll send it to Cliff. in case you-
Well, I was gonna say, I think I'm on that committee too, so, yeah.
So I'll make sure
Thanks.
that you all, I'll make sure you all get it, but anyway, yeah, I'll try to send you some information on that bid process, but it looks like it can still happen, they're not giving up on it, they should have additional funding, and so hopefully, depending on who takes the bid and who can do the job or whatever else, we're still in the game,
Good.
we're still in the game.
Okay. On to new business. The first item under new business is a discussion or a vote on changes to reciprocal or out-of-county borrowing.
All right, now that I did go ahead and include in your packet that I sent to you all. Hopefully you got a chance to look it over. It was a little wordy because we wanted to show you what we were taking out, but essentially because we are adding some of these new databases and things, we're trying to clean up our policy a little bit and make it more to match with our neighboring counties, Pickens and Anderson, because a long time ago, before I was director, they set up a reciprocal agreement with the other two counties that if you were a resident of Pickens or Anderson County, you could come over here and get a library card. The problem is, as we add more electronic databases and things like Canopy or, Cloud Library or whatever, all of the pricing on those and the way the rules are set up for those, they're all based on county population. So unless you either live in the county and are a resident of the county, or unless you pay the out-of-county fee, which kind of makes up for, we kind of figure it based on sort of what the taxes you would pay if you were a resident. So that's why we charge that $20 a year. But unless you're one of those two categories, if you're just one of the reciprocal borrowers, those two counties do not offer our folks, like if you live in Oconee but get a Pickens or Anderson card, you can only use their physical materials. That's it, unless you pay the out-of-county fee. And we need to be in line with that, because we kind of were, but we just don't have that many, and it hasn't really been a big deal up to now, so I think a few of our reciprocal borrowers probably slipped through the cracks and are able to get in Cloud Library and that kind of stuff. And we're not trying to take stuff away from anybody, but we have to be in line with the agreement that we have with them that says, okay, you get the services that you offer to your people, and I get the services that you offer to your people. So if we have to pay, they have to pay. So what we're doing is just cleaning up the reciprocal borrower. We're also basically kind of getting a little of the wording out. You see that we took out a lot of stuff. And so by the time it's over with, it's a little more simplified. But I mean, basically what it says when you come down to it is that we are just enforcing now that if you are an out-of-county resident and you wanna pay the fee, that's great, then you get all the privileges. If you're one of the two counties, Anderson or Pickens, and you're a reciprocal borrower, that only allows you to borrow the physical items, not the passes, not the, library of things, not the electronic stuff, unless you do pay the out-of-county fee. And that's, we're not doing anything different that like Anderson, all of this basically came from researching Anderson and Pickens County's policies and how they do their reciprocal and all, and just basically getting us, more in line with what we should be doing, because we are adding all these new, like library of things, electronics, all that kind of stuff. We just wanna make sure that not only are we in line with what they're doing, but also we're honoring what we're supposed to do with our vendors.
Can we get a motion to approve the new policy as presented?
I have a discussion point. You mentioned getting more like video streaming and everything. I don't see that mentioned specifically here. You've got ebooks, e-audio books. Is that something that should fall under it as well? So I'm looking at the completed new one, the first paragraph and the second say, Go Passes, Library of Things, ebooks, e-audio books, and there's no mention of the video streaming.
Yeah, I guess probably, we would amend it to say, and electronic, and some electronic databases, or
I do
electronic.
think you need some sort of
Electronic
catch-all.
resource, either, something all-encompassing, or I would, if you want that to be included in the policy, I would think about amending it.
Yeah. We'll add that,
Okay.
we'll add that point.
So was that a motion with that addition?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Okay, so,
And I'll second it then.
okay. So, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amended edition of the motion of the amended policy? Aye. Okay. Okay, next order of new business is a discussion and vote on sunset of electronic borrowing.
All right,
Interested to
in
see
line
what
with
that
that as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I was interested to see what sunsetting of electronic borrowing is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I could have just said cessation, ending, whatever, but anyway. We started the electronic borrowing during COVID, honestly. I mean, that was one of the things when Darcy was still here. We started doing an electronic borrower because at the time, of course, we weren't open to anyone. We couldn't, give anybody any physical materials other than some of the donated books we were putting out for people to just come by and get, that kind of thing. So we started the electronic borrower, but what we've looked at, when we've looked at Anderson and Pickens and even Spartanburg and some of these others, they really don't have that anymore. Basically, you have either the regular card, out-of-county card, whatever, because it's tough to manage. I mean, people sign up for them online, and then we have to go through and check, okay, are you a resident? You're just trying to get away with, oh yeah, we found a card in there for you that you've got a $30 lost book fee, we don't want that. We've got one right now from like Rancho something, California. Now, I don't know how that one slipped through the cracks. So what we're doing basically is looking at going ahead and ending it, because we know that if we're gonna clean up the reciprocal policy and all that kind of thing, and we're gonna get this new, I was about to say it's hoopla.
It was mentioned somewhere in the background.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, not like it's a huge secret, but anyway, if we're gonna get that, then we don't want a bunch of people signing up online to just use electronic materials and not, that sort of gets them around our other policies. So that's why we wanna just go ahead and end that as well, because we just wanna sort of make sure that everything is consistent, no matter what kind of borrower. Like with Hoopla, we're trying to set it up to where, like, for our juvenile borrowers, that they can't get to certain things, and that kind of stuff that goes along with the rest of our policies, like you can't have R-rated movies with a juvenile card, so we're also trying to make sure that that's, the same policies are set up in Hoopla. But we don't want a lot of people signing up for electronic cards just because Hoopla is basically paid by the borrow, paid by the use, We don't want a lot of people signing up for it and taking it away from county residents, so that's why we wanna put an end to the electronic borrowing.
Okay, any questions? Okay, can I get a motion to sunset electronic borrowing?
Makes sense to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
So moved. Can I get a second?
second.
Okay. Any questions? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And we have no executive session or anything on the agenda, so that brings us to
Yes, sir.
adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion and second.
I was the second.
Cliff and
Monica was the motion.